Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. And if everyone around you has gotten their stimulus check and you have not, well, today is the show for you. Kadenia Javis with Javis Financial Services is going to join us in just a few minutes. You can see her beautiful face right there with information and updates on. You're welcome on. Thank you, on stimulus checks. But first, here's some COVID community updates. If you have a elderly family member that is in your home or that you know and love, and they need some resources and some information, the Richland County Public Library is going to do a free webinar this Thursday. That's right. This Thursday, they'll have all the resources right there. You do need to register, and you can call 855-756-7520 to register for that free webinar for senior services during COVID. Also, driving tests are going to resume at the South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. They had scrapped the skills test because of social distancing, but beginning next Tuesday, you can make an appointment. You have to make an appointment to get your driving test done for your Class D license. Also, if you need a free mask, there is a sustainable athletic wear company in New York that's giving away free masks. All you have to do is ask them. Go to Dhvani.com. That's DHVANI.com. You can order your free mask and you can make a donation for someone else to get a free mask. That is your COVID community update. I'm Tre Tailor, and Kadenia Javis is joining us with Javis Tax Service. 140 million people have received their stimulus checks, totaling about $239 billion. 10 million people have not received their checks. If that is you, Kadenia is here to answer your questions as to why, Kadenia, why aren't folks getting their stimulus checks? It's 10 million people out there.
Well, first of all, if they're watching the news, they see that the Treasury had to bring back 10,000 employees just to open mail and to process. Because no matter what, whether anything's electronic, you still have someone who needs to push the button.
Right.
There's still reports, exceptions, just different things that have to be ran, even though things are still electronic. Even though you get ACH, direct deposit paycheck, there's somebody that has to push that button. Yeah. So Treasury had to bring back 10,000 people. That was May the 5th. And they had to bring their own masks. They didn't have PPE for the employees. So you had some employees who refused to go back because of that. So everybody's working reduced staffed, less hours, and especially with social distancing.
Yeah.
But the direct deposit information was the most fastest way to get your refund. Some people are unbanked. You wouldn't believe we have a lot of Americans and taxpayers that don't have a bank account, don't have a savings account. They, get checks and they cash them. So anytime there's a paper trail, it's going to be longer. Yeah. And that is what has happened with stimulus. Some people did go and open up those bank accounts because Treasury did send it out, where you could go online to irs.gov, get my payment, enter your direct deposit. But that last day for that was last Thursday. I believe it was last Thursday or Friday.
Right.
And so now you cannot go out and enter it. So now you are going to be forced to get a paper check, which is going to take longer. Then you have your postal service.
Okay, let's stop there for a minute. Okay, so the first reason is because they just were understaffed. They had to bring some people in. So that's one reason why.
That's one reason.
Just plain old wasn't enough people to process all these checks.
I mean, we're in a pandemic, so we're dealing with less people.
The second reason is because if you didn't have a bank account, that was going to be the longest process anyway. If you're looking for a paper check, then that was going to be the long. Now, but I'll tell you, I had my banking information and I got a paper check. I had my banking I've always had direct deposit. That probably doesn't feel good for somebody.
Wow. Tre, was there a situation where when you filed your taxes, did you have a third party involved?
Not like I had a tax preparer.
So you had a tax preparer. And did you pay her up front or did you have your fees taken out of your refund?
I pay her up front.
You pay her up front, you still got a paper check? Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I pay her up front. Yeah. Or I borrowed it. I got her some tickets or something. I don't know.
Right. But
I don't know
anyway,
what. Yeah.
we don't have control over it.
Yeah.
Because that has happened to some of our clients who they were direct deposit, and some of them did ask me why did they get a live check. There's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
We hadn't been told anything. I guess it was ever what day they felt like whoever was
Right.
processing that day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't mad about it. I'm just saying, I guess, if
You probably could have gotten it 3 to 5 days earlier had it went direct
yeah,
deposit.
yeah. And then the third reason you were getting ready to say, Kadena?
All right, so we said for a manpower at the
Manpower,
Treasury, the direct deposit.
direct
And
deposit.
then we have taxpayers who move. So mailing and forwarding address. The federal government does not like to forward federal mail. Sometimes it slides through our postal service, but sometimes our postal service will send those checks back to the Treasury. So you got to think of the manpower and the time that it's going to sit in a PO box, because
Right.
you can't mail directly to the Department of Treasury. They have a PO box. Every letter that's sent to them, if you notice, you never get a street address. It's always a PO box. So somebody the mail carrier has to go pick up bundles of mail. Ours go to Kansas City, Missouri from South Carolina. And so then it has to be sorted out. So you got return checks. And then with less labor processing those checks, that is what is prolonging this process. So then they came out with the adjusted gross income. A lot of people thought they were issuing checks by your last name. No, it's not your last name. It's by your adjusted gross income. So there's a calendar that we have that I can share with you to share with your viewers. And like I was saying, if a married couple, I had someone call me this morning, they make over $200,000. They're on the bottom of the list September 4th. So they're not going to get their stimulus mailed
because they make so much.
So they're issuing those stimulus checks to us people that are,
based on your income. Yeah.
$100,000 first.
But you know what, Kadena, that makes sense. And I ain't mad at them, because the people who have less need it more. And you know what? We live in such a society that is disproportionate. The folks who don't have as much don't get as much. So
that is true.
I mean, I'm kind of, no disrespect to those folks making $200,000.
I mean, hey, I'm mad at in that number, but praise
right. Yes, but I'm glad that at least the federal government was looking out for folks who may need it more. So that's the other thing. Yeah, if you received your if depending on your income, if you are making is it over $200,000 or is it?
Well, I mean, the checklist, it starts from if you make 20 to 30,000, checks went out May 1st. If you make 30 to 40,000, checks went out May 8th. You see what I'm saying? If they make between 40 to 50,000, May 15th, because I just had to answer some questions for that. So I had a client that was like 46,000. I said, hey, your check should be processing and headed your way. Just look for it. And I'm telling them, just like when we do your taxes, give it 21 business days.
Right.
Like I say, you got the post office. They're on reduced staff as well. Everybody has less manpower. So nobody is.
Oh, I think we've lost.
Too many occupations are doing overtime.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of being paid. They're not taxpayers, but for individuals who are citizens and well, folks who do not get Social Security, they just that Treasury has came up with a form called EIP. This people displaced, they can get that $1,200 for the $1,200.
Kadenia Javis is with us. She's with Javis Financial Services. We're talking about stimulus checks, and I want to know why folks have and have not gotten them. Monica Hilton says, hey, boss ladies. Hey, lady, thank you so much for joining us for Coping with COVID. Now, Kadenia, in addition to those reasons that you stated, which was manpower, your income, and and direct deposit, I know that there's some other scenarios too. What about if someone passes away? And do they still get a check?
heard you say, what if they pass away?
Yeah, if someone has passed away.
If they pass away, and because the Treasury is issuing those checks based on 2018 tax returns, because 2019 they gave an extension, so that's why they did not use 2019 tax returns. So 2018, if that person was alive December 31st of 2018, that check is rightfully theirs and should be deposited into their estate account or their trust account. You probably, if you're handling, an estate planning, you should still have that account, because normally they like for you to have it open 18 months after a person's death. So you should be able to deposit that check into that estate account.
Okay, so if someone has passed away, as long that it still goes to the estate of whomever that person is.
And
Candace,
probate will dispense. Probate will do the right thing when it's time to disperse the funds when they close the account.
right. So so what'll happen? It'll go to the home of the deceased, and if you live in that home, what do you need to do? Take to the bank?
Yeah, the person who's the executor of the estate or their personal representative, they have all the rights to sign off on any money and fees that are received from the deceased. So they would just deposit into that account.
Okay. I want to say hi to Deborah Hayes. Debo is listening. Also, Candace Belton says hello. Thank you so much, Candace and Debo and Monica and everyone else watching Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Kadenia Javis with Javis Financial Services has joined us. And we're talking about Stimulus Check 101. Any questions that you may have, if you have a question, please feel free to drop it in the comments. So, what about, I know the other thing is where you filed, how you filed your taxes. That may impact when you get your check. Is that correct?
That is true. That's a determining factor, how you filed. And also, Trey, we have a lot of students that are hearing the buzz that they can get the $1,200. Well, that is true if their parents did not claim them.
Right.
But the scenario and the numbers, you just got to do the numbers, because if you are a single parent and you have that one child that's in college, then it probably is more advantageous for you to file your dependent, and you have the exemption of being head of household, as well as you being able to file your child's education credit. And that will outweigh way more than $1,200.
Right.
So my college kids who they Twitter in between teenage and adulthood, they calling, well, shouldn't my mama give me $1,200? I'm like, how much your mama rent, your water bill, light bill, them
That's
shoes,
right,
all of the above.
Right.
So don't go out there trying to, they in college and hearing the buzz from their roommates about, oh, I got $1,200 economic payment. It's bigger than the $1,200, just like at tax time.
Yes.
The numbers out, you got to do the numbers. You got to do the numbers.
Candace Belton says, is it true that the stimulus check is being taken back by child support?
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Persons who owe back child support are the only ones that we were told that could not receive their stimulus checks. You could have a back payment to the Department of Treasury, IRS, your Department of Revenue, student loans, you could owe back pay. All those agencies that do offsets during normal tax return time, they were not taking your stimulus. But if you owe back child support, we were told that was the only mechanism that would, take the offset and take the checks.
Okay.
But I personally haven't had any of my clients that owe back child support to call me and complain or say anything. So I really don't know how true it to be. But, with the Treasury sending out their emails to the authorized e-filers, we were told that was the only mechanism that would take the stimulus. Because a lot of people was like, well, I owe $20,000 to the IRS. I have a tax bill 5 years. Every year I owe. But even with you owing during this pandemic, the Treasury was still allowing those taxpayers to have their stimulus checks.
Right. Well, I was going to ask that too. That was going to be my next question, since Candace asked about child support. I was going to ask, what about if you have been owing, or you owe the federal government? So you said they have waived that and still giving you all your. That's great.
Because how are we going to stimulate the economy?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and student loans is a big one at tax time that takes people's refunds. So even with the student loans, they put a halt on it, and they were not touching the stimulus payments. So that was a plus.
Right. Monica says, thanks. That just answered her question about college kids. I guess what you asked for. They don't deserve nothing, Monica.
I
You
told them
take
add
care of
up.
them.
I
Yeah, you
tell them
take
that I
girl,
tell them all
please.
the time, I got a personal budget sheet. I'm gonna send it to you, and you have your parents fill it out. If you can get them half of what they spend, then hey, you definitely need to be filing independent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Listen, we've all been teenagers. We know how crazy you are when you when you're that age, you know. So yeah, so Monica says, great question, Candace. That was the second question for her oldest son. Does that child support reduce the balance of child support arrears?
Yes, ma'am. So if they owe $1,500 and they got 1,200 from the stimulus, then now that person should only owe $300.
Oh wow.
Yes, it does reduce the back pay.
Oh, that's good. Good questions. Thank you, ladies. All right. Anything else, Kadena, that may either prevent folks from getting their stimulus check, or any other scenarios that you are aware of that people may need to know about?
I have ran into, say we were married in 2018 and now we're divorced. So the check has come in both parties' names.
Mm.
That has been an issue, but hopefully they are responsible adults will deposit the check and split the difference. I mean, if all else and it doesn't, then you would have to get an attorney involved or
Yeah.
send the check back to the IRS so that they can explain, hey, we're legally separated or we're divorced now. Can you send these payments separately? But I would hope and pray that common sense deposit the check and just write the person a check for their half, because
Right.
it's not always $1,200 either, Trey. You know, because it's up to 70. If that individual makes 75,000, that's the cap. So if you made 80,000, I got a client. They was like, "Why did I get $720?" It was an odd number,
Right.
and that's
Right.
because they take away $100 per thousand. You know, there's a phase out. There's
Gotcha.
a phase
Yeah.
out with the money.
So, what about if you do feel like you got the wrong amount? You and I were talking a little bit about this before we came on the air. Is there something you can do? Is there someone you can call? I mean, I'm sure, you know, the number, the call is crazy, you know, now you
Yes,
can't get through.
we have. A lot of people don't know we have. I'm looking the number up right now.
Okay.
Every state has a federal building with the Department of Treasury in it, and it's called and inside the IRS. Because I used to be an IRS employee. There's a taxpayer advocate office. That taxpayer advocate office works for the citizens. They're not.
Okay.
They work for the citizens, the taxpayer. So if there's any issue you want resolved or looked into, any matters, you call the taxpayer advocate's office. And here in Columbia, now you have to leave a message because so many calls come through.
I'm sure.
Right. So you leave a message and then somebody will call back and get your case started so they can start looking into it. And here in South Carolina, you can call 803-312-7901. And that's your taxpayer advocate office in Columbia. Now, Florence and Greenville have their own, but if you call this number, they'll give you their
They'll
number.
give you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 803-312-7901. 312-7901. If you have any questions about your stimulus check, that's the taxpayer advocate office.
Correct. And even in your situation, I would start that paper trail, letting them know, hey, I understand they went by 2018, but I filed my 19 early.
Yeah.
I extended it to July.
Yeah.
So I want to be compensated for my
I need
dependents.
2 babies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Y'all owe me $1,000.
Yes.
So what paperwork there's always a paperwork involved. And so not that you're disputing it, it's just that you didn't fall into, I filed my taxes late. You filed yours early. So I'd rather you use my most current tax filing status.
Yeah. And just to update everyone, what Kadena and I are talking about is before we went on the air, I told her that I received my stimulus payment, but it was incorrect. It was based on my 2018 tax return and not my 2019 tax return, which has dependents. I didn't have dependents in 2018. I had dependents in 2019. I filed my taxes on time. So I was surprised that 1,000 times surprised that I didn't get that
It
I
was a
didn't get.
thousand less.
Yes, yeah, that it was 1,000 less. So Kadena is saying that I can call, and you can call that tax advocate also, 803-312-7901, 312-7901, to get the process started if you have questions or you think your payment is incorrect. Kadena, Monica says, can you give her a call when you get off the air, please?
Yes, ma'am, I sure will.
And Monica, I guess, does you have Monica's number? I'm going to ask Kadena for her contact information also. She said, Mrs. Javis rocks. Yes, she does.
Oh,
So Candace says,
sweet.
Candace says, and Monica, I haven't forgotten about you either. I thought about you today. Candace says, I just contacted you before this. She said she got your answering service, but she was referred to you. So she's excited to work with you also. Thank you for being an amazing boss lady in the community, Candace.
Thank you, Candace. And I look forward to serving you, darling.
Yeah.
That is another thing we had to implement just Friday, because we're helping so many of our small business owners.
That's
with the
good.
Stimulus loans,
yes.
Unemployment, because it was 4 segments to the CARES Act. So you may qualify for all, or you may qualify for none, or you may qualify for 2 out of the 4. So it was 4 different parts. You had your unemployment,
unemployment.
You had your, the EIDL, which was the up to $10,000 loan the SBA was giving out. Then you had your PPP, the payroll protection.
Protection, yeah.
So with all of that, the cost.
What was the 4th one? It was unemployment, the $1,000 SBA, PPE,
EIDL. What was the 4th one, Trey? Jesus.
Yeah.
Blank on it.
Excuse me, y'all. I'm just coughing. I just got this tickle in my throat. I promise I don't have COVID, but if I do, I'm over here and y'all over there. So it's okay.
We are protected virtually.
Yes, we are protected. So I apologize. I've just got a little tickle in my throat. So I'm just drinking.
Okay.
All right. So
Glory, my mother is free of COVID.
Yes.
38 days.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations. I was going to ask you about your mama.
She is so elated that we are now not excluding her.
Right. Well, listen, once we get off the air, I'd love to talk to you about talking to her, because I'm doing a show also on people who survived COVID. So I'd love to have her on the show. So Katina is saying that she's been
right. The 4th one was the stimulus.
The stimulus, okay. Right. What we're talking about today. Yeah. So there were 4 parts to the CARES Act. The stimulus check was one, and the PPE money was one. The small business loan, the $10,000 was the other one, and then the unemployment. Yeah. And so, what have people been coming to you about, Kadena? What have been some of the issues?
The people who work in as they call it now, the gig economy, where they don't get paychecks every 2 weeks, whether they're Uber drivers.
Freelancers. Yeah, freelancers.
Yeah, I like that too. Freelancers better than
it's a gig too, but
yeah, because you can have several gigs that making it do what it do.
Absolutely.
Musicians. Where they play churches and pay for themselves.
Artists,
period. They're thinking the barbers, the stylists, the nail techs, the masseuse, all of those is like, I don't have a paycheck, so I don't qualify. It was a misconception. Yes, you do qualify. Even if you did not have a W-2 where you was paying in taxes, they have it where they call it the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. You can get up to $600.
Yes, a week.
A week. Because people are not working, and they don't want us to go back to where we was in 2008.
Yeah,
the mortgage industry, houses, every other house was foreclosed.
Right.
So they're trying to pump the money into the economy, and hopefully and prayerfully everybody's doing what they're supposed to do with the money. Pay your necessity bills. Things that are not necessity, pay the bare minimum, because we still want to protect our credit. We want to come out of this. But paying the minimum balance on stuff that's not essential.
Right.
And I know that SCNG or Dominion Energy and said they're not going to turn your lights off, don't let that bill accumulate.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to pay it at some point.
You got to pay it at some point. So if you're getting assistance and you're getting $600, and that's more than some people make on their
That's right.
jobs.
Right. Put a
So
little bit towards your bills. Yeah, put a
yeah, a
little bit
little bit.
towards
If
your
it
bills.
ain't but $50 or $80. And most people, our light bills right now with this weather, it's been nice and cool.
Hmm.
So your light bill shouldn't be that high anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So,
and what was
Kadena,
another? Mm-hmm.
let me ask you this. Pause, because several people have gone back to work. The beauty salons have gone back to work. Several other businesses have gone back.
Yesterday,
Yes,
yes.
yes. So, but tell me, if there are still people who may qualify for that PUA, and they haven't gone back to work. Maybe they could have been a waiter or waitress, and their particular restaurant didn't open all the way back up, because there are several restaurants who still have not opened back up or haven't hired everyone back. So they can go to, and I know this is an unemployment question, but I want to know, if you know, what do they have to submit to Department of Employment and Workforce, to what kind of proof, since they don't have a W-2 or W-4 or whatever, since they don't have anything on paper, so to speak, proving how much they've earned. Do you know?
Oh, well, yes, because again, that we're helping our taxpayers who are self-employed. Um, they have a checklist, but if they have not gone back to work, Trey, as long as they are seeking 2 jobs every week, when they're certifying their going into their portal with SEDU, then they will get their $600 until, I believe it's June the 30th. I believe
Uh-huh.
the $600 expires June the 30th.
Right, right. And so Monica says, how do I apply? You go to scdew.gov,
That's it. Mm-hmm.
scdew.gov, Monica, and just start the process. You have to put in your name, social security number, all of that.
They
But
streamlined it. The first wave that went in back in March, it was a long process, but they streamlined it, Monica, and now it's maybe 5 questions. It's not
mhm,
much at all. And
right.
you just, I mean, if you're a Schedule C filer, in which I know that you are, because you own your own cake business and you have been affected because people not celebrating.
That's
They're not
right.
standing out. We're
That's
not
right.
getting in crowds. We're not buying those cakes and cupcakes because we can't
That's
get
right.
together and celebrate anything right now. So you have definitely been affected. So you would qualify. So
Okay.
you would go to South Carolina
SC
dot
do.
DEW,
Yeah,
which is
SC,
Department of Employment Workforce
SC
dot
do.
gov.
Yeah, scdo.gov. And the home page should have all of that information, Monica.
It's the COVID-19 PUA. You'll see
Yeah.
it as soon as it pops up on the page.
Yeah, and just fill out all of the information. And you said, Kadena, they don't need any verification or
Well, they're
certification.
going
No
to
paper.
ask for your, like I said, Schedule C, a profit and loss from your business.
Mhm.
So they use that to verify you are a legitimate business. Now,
Gotcha.
I have had some taxpayers that have applied for the SBA loans, and they've gotten denial letters back from SBA saying you were not economically injured.
Right.
So it's not a guarantee with the SBA part, but with the South Carolina Department of Workforce, I'm sure they have a background things and how they can find out. But if you filling out the applications, truthfully, and you go through the process through your portal, then what they do is they mail you out of South Carolina a little debit card, and then the money is loaded onto the debit card every
Right.
week. But you certify. And then for those who also go back to work but can't get 40 hours, you
Yeah.
just report,
How
hey.
many hours you worked,
Mm-hmm. And
or how
so
much
if
money you
you, instead of getting the 600,
make it five
you'll
or
get the
four.
supplement, right? You'll get the difference. But
Yeah.
you do want to report when you do go back to work, because I promise you will eventually, there will be an audit of all disbursements of funds in the
Yeah.
next 2 to 3 years. There's going
Yeah.
to be a task force for us, not just accountants, but that's just a part of it. Something, if you got credits going out, then we're going to verify the debits. I don't care
Right.
what agency you work for. And
Yeah.
so if you have an overpayment, you're going to get a letter saying you were overpaid because you understated your income. So it's
Hmm.
better to not get it and not, then here it come later on, and then you got to pay it back, or they start garnishing your wages, or they'll take a tax
Exactly.
refund because you've gotten an overpayment.
Right. Monica said, she said, ain't nobody eating cake. Arlene says hers is come and gone. I guess, what do you mean? I guess she means her check. Her stimulus check has come and gone. She's already paid. Candace Belton wants to know, and I don't know if you can answer this question, Kadenia, but Candace, I am going to do another show next week with the SBA and SBDC on grants for small businesses only loans. Well, there were grants at first. There were forgivable loans. So
and there were grants. SBA was giving out grants. They had so much money set aside. Candace, are you in Richland County? Because Richland County, if you go to Richland,
yes,
if you're in Richland County, they still have their grant.
They still have money. Open. Yeah, they still have their application open. As a matter of fact, Candace, if you go to my page, I do an interview with Shakise Newton, who is on the Richland County Council Board. And she talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that they had several thousands the dollars, and these were forgivable loans. But next Wednesday, forgivable grants. Well, forgivable loans. Yeah. So Candace, go to my page and look up or go to YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, Tre Tailor, Coping with COVID, and you can see that Shakise Newton interview. Or, as Kadenia said, go to the Richland County .gov website, and you can get information about that. Next week, as a matter of fact, on Coping with COVID, like I said, on Wednesday, we'll talk with Cheryl Sally with SBDC and the folks with SBA about some other, some more information about grants and loans. Monica says, great information. And Marvell Williams Mendenhall says, are they issuing, this is $1 million question, people want to know, are they issuing a second stimulus check? Do you know that?
It's in it's in Congress.
Yes, in Congress.
What we're saying, you can stay on your legislation. Find out who, I got a book, the South Carolina legislature. Find out who your people are.
Yeah.
And you need to contact them. Okay. You need to contact them, because that's what's going to determine, and who's going to determine if we get that second wave of checks.
That's right. Yeah.
I think some primaries are coming up. Everybody's talking
primaries
about
coming up in June.
June 5th. Is it June 5th, Tre?
Yes.
Okay, June 5th is just as important to get out and vote, and go ahead and do your absentee voting now.
Yes. Yeah, you can do everybody. That's tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's show is with the Richland County Democratic Party. They're going to talk about absentee voting. As you say, Kadenia, everyone can vote absentee now. And it is so important to vote, because when you vote for people that take care of your best interests. And yes, so yes, and we talked to Terry Alexander, State Representative Terry Alexander, on Saturday, and he talked about the fact that they're waiting now to see if the Senate is going to approve those second round of stimulus checks. So thank you so much for answering that question. Marvell Mendenhall also wants to know, will those who receive money from Social Security receive a stimulus check? I think you answered that earlier, Marvell, but she can answer it again. Go ahead.
Yes, those that receive money from Social Security benefits and also the railroad retirement. In the beginning, they had said that they had to do a special tax return. So we were getting prepared. We was going to run reports and call folks who normally have aged out and don't have to file, because that's all they have is Social Security, which so much of it is non-taxable income. But then our Congress said, no, that's ridiculous. These people are getting their money direct deposit. If they're getting direct deposit, let's send them their checks to them. And so that they are getting their checks. If they are not, I would say by the end of May, if you got not an elderly person, because everybody's not old.
That's getting Social Security. That's right. That's right.
You got disability. Young children. But especially if those that are 65 and older, if they have not gotten it, that taxpayer advocate number that we gave out, 803-312-7901. So we can research to find out why and where it is, because it may just be something something in the system that just didn't trigger it to give them their monies.
Right, right. All right. Thank you, Marvell. Arlene Wilson wants to know, Kadena, are the checks coming from Pennsylvania? She says her honey needs his check and my honey is waiting on his. The IRS website says it's been mailed out on the 15th.
Well, the 15th
Well,
was just
that was
last
just
week, baby.
Yes, that's 4 days ago, Arlene.
That's just 4 days ago.
Yeah.
It probably hadn't left whatever state where they're coming from.
Here's the other thing.
Pennsylvania.
But here's the other thing, Arlene, and Kadena mentioned this earlier. Remember, we're in a pandemic. One, a lot of people aren't working. People are working on limited schedules, and everything's off. Reduced staff. Everything's off. So, the 15th,
that was just 4 days ago.
That was just 4 days ago.
Give minimum 10 business days. Don't count the weekend. Minimum 10 business days.
Right.
But I just been telling our folks, the same 21 days we wait on for our tax refund, let's give it 21 days for these checks. Because like I said, again, it's coming from whatever state to your mailbox. And
that's right.
How many trucks and warehouses that mail goes through before it gets to you, we just don't know. So just be patient. And as the old folks used to tell us, don't count your chickens.
That's right. Kadenia Javis is joining us. She's with Javis Financial Services. We're talking about the stimulus check. She did give out a number for a tax advocate. The number is 803-312-7901. Now, that is the number if you live in Columbia. There are different numbers for different cities. But if you call 803-312-7901, you can ask them, hey, I live in Florence, I live in Hartsville, I live in Myrtle Beach, I live in Greenville. Wherever you live, there is a tax advocate. And if you have a question about your stimulus check, you can contact the tax advocate. Now, just like Arlena with the mail and everything else, you may have to be on hold for a minute. You're
going to have to leave a message with taxpayer. You never will get anybody that answers the phone. That's their process. And I guess it depends on the complexity of what you need. That's how they determine what person gets it in their department.
Right.
So leave your message, leave a very detailed message, because I'm sure they have certain people that are working on stimulus. They got certain people working on regular back taxes. They got, just different stuff. So that's why you have to leave a message.
Yes.
Someone will call you back within 72 hours. 72
good.
hours.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Marlene Monica says, calm down, and I'm adding, buy a cake. Oh, Monica says, calm down. And Arlene, I'm telling you to buy a cake from Monica. So contact Javis Financial Services for information at 803-727-7065. Thank you, Christopher Javis. Why don't you go somewhere cutting somebody's hair? And yes.
Oh,
and
Jesus, he should be at the barber shop cutting hair.
Marvell, thank you so much for the kind words. She says that she loves the platform. And yes, we will definitely put on the number. The number is, again, 803-312-7901. And that is the number for the tax advocate office. Peggy, let me see, who is this? I'm sorry. Peggy Wright Braley has joined us. Hey, Peggy, thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. We appreciate you. Beautiful. This is Kadenia Javis with Javis Financial Services. We're talking about stimulus checks. Hey, Kadenia, Peggy wants to know what the person is in a nursing facility. I came in on the end of the Social Security discussion. Yeah. Okay.
So most of our elderly people that are in the nurses facility, their Social Security checks most of the time go to that facility. So that should be a credit on that account.
Really? So, that's such a good question, Peggy. So if your family member is in a nursing facility, the check is not coming to Big Mama. The check is coming to whatever the nursing facility is, and they will supposedly credit their account. Wow.
And if they don't need that credit on their account, then they need to reissue you a refund.
Let me ask you. Yeah. So let me ask you that.
Their accounts department should be issuing a refund.
Right. So Peggy, but listen to this, Kadenia. You said if there is no balance on the account, what does that mean? If there's no balance ever, or if the payment is, or if Big Mama's account is paid up for the month, for whatever month is May, then the check comes in May, will she get the refund, or will they put it to June?
That is no, they should not do that. They
Okay.
no, they need to definitely call the administrator, and that
Right.
money should be sent to the person who's that personal representative of their welfare. That money should not be credited to the nursing facility, because I'm sure their Social Security, and if they have long-term care insurance, that is covering their stuff. So they should not be taking that $1,200. That should go to the person who is their personal representative. So they need to talk to the administrator of that facility.
Okay, so yeah, Peggy, they should let you know, but if they don't let you know, you call them.
That's right, darling.
Go
you
down
call
there.
Them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Those are your affairs. Oh no, they'll let that money sit there.
Yeah.
So you be the one that care about that person that's there, and let them know you just checking the status, because you know that Social Security recipients qualify for the economic injury payments, and we know it's going into that account, and you all have access to that account.
Right. Okay. So Peggy, you do that. Macy Smith has joined us. Thank you, Macy, so much. She said it can be a little sketchy for someone who's on Medicaid. Well, Macy said that she said it shouldn't go to the nursing home. It's against the law for nursing homes to keep a stimulus check.
Right.
So Peggy, when you go, take the police with you. I'm just kidding. In a funny kind of way. I'm not really kidding. If you need to, yeah, Peggy. So call them and find out about your family member and if they have gotten that check. Now, Macy says that she's doing a live about that tonight at 7:30. So go to Macy Smith page tonight, MP Smith. Is it live on Facebook, Macy? And she's talking about nursing homes at 7:30. Tonight on Facebook Live. Thank you so much, Macy. When you get a chance, I'd love to have you on the show.
Gerontologist. She's awesome, Dr. Macy.
Yeah, she is. She is. All right. So in about 20 minutes, she said about 20 minutes. Okay. I thought she said it was tonight. All right. So Macy Smith's going to do her live in about 20 minutes. Well, she said in about 20 minutes. I don't know what she means. So she says she's talking about it tonight at 7:30. And then she says in about 20 minutes. So I'm not sure what she means. Anyway. All right. Oh, it's about 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute long Facebook Live. Okay. We're talking to Kadenia Javis with Javis Tax Services, Javis Financial Services. It used to be Javis Tax Services, right?
Well, that's our DBA name. We still do business as Javis Tax Services. Our legal name is just Javis Financial Services. And that's something else too, Trey, that we have come across during this pandemic. We have a lot of business owners who think they are legit. And all this paperwork that is required that they do not have is keeping them from getting loans or grants.
Right.
So I said, if Corona don't do anything else, she's going to make business owners get right.
Right.
All the preaching we've been talking about, what you need to do all these years, people have been ignoring it and sliding by, doing it their way. And now here you go. We're in a pandemic, something nobody knew was coming.
Yeah.
And that's why they say you do not qualify if your business was not in place 2/15/2020. They know when you registered with the Secretary of State, you did it March the 1st, you're not going to qualify.
Right. So let me ask you this, Kadenia, is that for the grants and loans and unemployment, or just the grants and loans?
All the applications for all four of those components that we have helped taxpayers do, that 2/15/2020 has come up on every one of them.
Okay. And so you have to have had not only filed as a business or small business, but you have to have your business license? Is that what you said?
Business license, profit and loss statements. If you're a W-2, they need 940-41, reporting that you reported to the IRS, your articles of organization, your certificate of existence, your business checking account, everything that legitimizes that you are a business. Mm-hmm. So you have people that file Schedule Cs on their 1040s as a business. And if you're a sole proprietor, don't get me wrong, we all start out not having everything A through Z. At the house, I started doing taxes at home. Yes. Didn't have a business license, didn't have an EIN number. I was a sole proprietor. So operating off my Social Security number. And that's how 99.9% of us start.
Exactly.
But it comes a time after 5 and 10 years, it's no longer a hobby.
Yeah.
If you're going to be reporting this income and taking deductions as losses. So if you're going to do that, you need you need a tax ID number. You need a business checking account. You need to register with your Secretary of State. You need to be an LLC. That's your insurance. I always tell people that's the cheapest insurance for any business. That $125, $45.
And I was going to ask, and it's very little, it's not a lot. It's not $1,000,
Nope. Now in California it's 800, but we're fortunate in South Carolina it's only 125, 145. Now it's gone up because now you have to pay for the extra documents, but it's still worth it because I didn't have a copy of my articles of organization, so I went out to my profile. It was only $4. It was $4. So you got some people who are being distracted by when we're emailing them telling them this is something that's a required document, and they're like, well, forget it then. I'm like, really? Okay, well, you the one needed this loan, or you trying to get this grant money to continue to pump into your business to stimulate to keep employees. But it's just a matter of, if you're gonna do it, let's do it right. And like I said, everybody that starts off, it's a learning curve with anything in any business.
Right.
Once you got in there and you know what your income is, you know what the expenses are going to be, and you're going to be writing them off. Just legitimize it and make it where it's concrete and it's on paper and it's documented.
Yeah.
We tell clients all the time, mattress money don't get you no loans. You got to put it in the bank. Right. They got to see that you can pay them back.
Yeah. 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 And, I'm sure it's not only, because a lot of times we think maybe it's an older person who is in business, but it doesn't have anything to do with age. Is that correct, Kadenia?
Oh, no, it doesn't have. We've seen it from the high school graduate that want to come out of high school and work for themselves, all the way up to somebody who's, they're still working, but they have a side
hustle. Yeah.
Side gig hustle, or they have a part-time job. And there's nothing wrong with having multiple streams of income. Absolutely. And we all know tax shelters reduce our taxable income, and that's what home-based businesses do. I tell people all the time, people don't sell Avon and Mary Kay to be millionaires. I mean, even though there are some.
Yeah. yes.
But most of the time it's, because they're looking for a tax shelter, and they're able to do that when they got a home-based business. So
Kadenia Javis has joined us with Javis Financial Services. Christopher Javis wants to know if his accounting can get him fried fish for dinner.
Really? On live TV, Mr. Javis?
Right, I think you can
get it anything you want. Great.
All right, now.
Make sure you come through.
All right, Chris. All right, you're doing the right thing. If you can get anything you want, Kadenia just said it right here. And Chris, anytime she disputes that, you have it on tape. That she said, anything you want, you can have it. At least today, you can.
For some of those, back to Dr. Macy with the nursing home folks, some of those that are in the nursing homes that are getting, I don't know, most of them probably are getting Social Security, but there are some people that don't get Social Security because they haven't paid into Social Security. Those are still some citizens who qualify to get the economic injury payment. So that's kind of what we trying to get that out, because there are some people who have worked their whole lives either being homemakers, they've been maids, and that their persons paid them cash their whole lives.
Right.
So when it came time, they were 65 and they ran their social. It's like you didn't even exist.
Right.
Because they never filed taxes. But during this pandemic, if you have a Social Security number and you are a U.S. citizen, you qualify for the economic injury payment. So Treasury has come up with a form. All we put in is the name, address, social, date of birth. They got two options. They can get direct deposit or an electronic check, and that is it. So we are helping a lot of, citizens.
That's good.
Get those economic payments because they're not out here reading and staying abreast of tax laws. So that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's great. So Kadenia, if people want more information about Javis Financial Services, how can they reach you?
They can just Google Javis Tax, or either our website is www.javistax.com, and our phone number is 803-419-1001. And like I said, right now we've upgraded to a 24-hour concierge message center. So that we no longer go into an answer machine. You will always get a live person to
that's good.
What you need to talk with us about. and we are answering those phone calls every four times an hour. We're checking our messages because there's so much paperwork in the office. The phone, we just couldn't manage it. So
Right.
we had a team meeting and we had to strategize. We just gonna have to outsource somebody answering the phone all day because we're helping clients because we have a drive-through now.
Yes.
So the drive-through is, we're helping taxpayers through the drive-through, and then the paperwork that's being fax scanned and emailed in. We had some packages being mailed yesterday. We got from Orange Park, Florida, and Tampa, Florida. I said, who in Florida talking about service? Service? But we don't mind. We service all 50 states.
That's good. That's good. That's good stuff. Kadenia, one last question. Arlene Wilson wants to know about children under 17 that get SSI. Do they qualify for the stimulus payment other than the $500?
No, ma'am. They will not get the $1,200. They will only get the $500, and that's because they're tagged as a dependent. And if they're under 17, you as the person over 18 who's their representative, your social is attached to their Social Security check. So Social Security knows that this is a minor.
Right. Okay. All right, Arlene. All right. So listen, give us your information one more time, Kadenia, as we wrap up the conversation.
All right, that's javistax.com, and we're on social media, Javis Financial Services, and our phone number is 803-419-1001, and our address in Columbia, South Carolina is 7171 Two Notch Road, and we're right in front of Columbia Place Mall.
All right, Kadenia, thank you so much for joining us on Coping with COVID. As usual, I always leave with a reading of Jesus Calling. Kadenia, you're more than welcome to stay if you don't mind.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Today is May 19th, and it says, I want you to know how safe and secure you are in my presence. That is a fact, totally independent of your feelings. You are on your way to heaven. Nothing can prevent you from reaching your destination. There you will see me face to face, and your joy will be off the charts by any earthly standards. Even now, you are never separated from me, though you must see me through your eyes of faith.
I will fear.
Yes, I will walk with you till the end of time and onward into eternity. Although my presence is a guaranteed promise, that does not necessarily change your feelings. When you forget I am with you, you may experience loneliness or fear. It is through awareness of my presence that peace will displace your negative feelings. Practice the discipline of walking consciously with me through each and every day. That's the Jesus Calling for today, May 19th. Please post and share this interview to spread this important message to the masses with Kadenia. Please like and follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Tre Tailor or Tailor Made Productions, and on YouTube, where you can view all of the Coping with COVID interviews. Now, if you have a COVID-related message or product or service that can help people during the pandemic, please inbox Tre Tailor or email thetailormadeproductions@gmail.com, and we can discuss how you can be a part of Coping with COVID. Now, tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk with the folks from the Richland County Democratic Party. Did you know that everyone can absentee vote? It's so important. We've got a primary coming up next month, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow on Coping with COVID. Do you need help with your rent? Well, Columbia City Council has asked Congress for an emergency rental assistance for residents that may be displaced by COVID. City Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devon is going to join us on Thursday to talk about that and a webinar that she's doing about networking through social media. We've got a big show on Friday. We're going to talk about how the church will change post-COVID. We're going to Charlotte, North Carolina to talk to Pastor John P. Key with New Life Community Church. Wow. And Travis Green with Forward City Church is also going to join us, and 3 other pastors, 2 from New York and 1 from right here in Columbia. That's going to be a great show. All of that and so much more coming up on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. Kadenia, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Tre.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You guys, thank you. Take care, stay well, and be safe. God bless you.
Bye-bye.